Boom. All right. Time out with Michael and Tony.
Konnichiwa!
How is everybody out there?
Good.
We are good. I am good.
We are good. Everything's good.
Everything is good. Hey, thanks everybody who is watching and listening to Time Out with Michael and Tony. We appreciate all of your help. Am I hearing something? I am.
Yeah, your phone volume's on.
I thought it was off. Anyway, hey, thanks for everybody that joins our podcast every week. We sure do appreciate it. We're at a new time, Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m. We're going to stay here. This is where we're going to be at. And we just want to say a big thank you to everybody that's been a support to us. Big time, big time. Yep. Sponsors, SeatGiant.com for all of your event tickets, concerts, music, things that you want to do. Go to SeatGiant.com and type in the promo code timeout, and you'll get a discount on whatever selection you make. We appreciate that. We've actually had some couple people do it. Yeah. We're not in it to make money with that because you don't get a ton from there, but just, hey, it was a cool thing that they reached out to us and partners with us. It was really cool. Arjun over at the Shell gas station on Harrison, and I always say Harrison, on Bear River Drive. He is giving away a free Hershey's product with your purchase out there if you mention Time Out with Michael and Tony. So go ahead and go over there and get your free Hershey's product. He actually came to me. He's like, man, you're like killing it for me over here. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, I had to change it up a little bit because I didn't have any Hershey's bars, or he didn't have a Hershey's product. Yeah. So it was kind of cool. Lastly, our big sponsor is Napa Auto Parts, and we are just finishing up with them, and we sure appreciate that they jumped on to sponsor us and help us out. So if you go over to Napa Auto Parts or Callis Automotive here in Evanston, Wyoming on Front Street, they will give you a free jug of windshield washer fluid with your purchase if you mention Time Out with Michael and Tony. So do that, and you get a free jug of windshield washer fluid. And it's needed because the streets are dirty, it's muddy here in Wyoming, and it's always nice to have an extra jug of windshield washer fluid. At least I think so.
It's always good to have.
Always good to have. Tonight's episode, are we getting old?
Nope.
No, we're not. Absolutely not. It can't happen. So I'm losing my mind.
No, you're good. You're good. So not many of you people know me personally because I am a mystery. But tomorrow is my birthday. And I am turning 36 tomorrow.
The big 3-6.
The big 3-6. You know how I'm going to celebrate? With a nap and a heating pad. living extreme.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Hello, Midlife Vibes.
Hey guys, how are you? We did an awesome thing yesterday with Midlife Vibes, and oh my goodness, that was such a fun time. Thank you so much to Josh and Becky at Midlife Vibes and letting us be part of their journey. They've definitely helped us out. So please, everybody, go ahead and go over to their channel, to their Facebook, to their Instagram, and it's just Midlife Vibes. It's really easy to find them. And they have this little symbol right here, CMNV, Midlife Vibes. One of the coolest logos I've ever seen. So go check them out, follow them, subscribe to them. They got some really cool stuff and really cool content. And they're kind of branching out. They used to do primarily Disney and kind of theme park stuff. And they're starting to branch out and do some really awesome, interesting stuff. I can't really wait for a lot of the things he's talked about to go after that. So that's pretty cool.
Sweet stuff.
Roses World, how are you? Mom, hi, how are you? Kelly Bounds.
Mike
Jones.
Mom, hi. Mike Mom. And then who's that part of? Oh, Roses World. Hey, thank you for the early happy birthday. Yes.
Rosa is Midlife Vibes mod,
That's right.
and she is amazing.
Right.
Rosa, I'm gonna figure out how to make you a mod if you don't mind. She's really good. She's
I'll
really
stick
good.
with the
Oh,
flu.
you're out sick with the flu. Hey, I hope you get better. Prayers that you get better.
That's not good. That's not good. So are we getting older?
You know, I don't know. I try to think that we're not. Like I've been doing a new workout regimen. I started off with something and I just needed to kind of get into it. And walking up the stairs to here was bad. But I don't think that's because I'm getting old. But I am forgetting some things.
Sure.
But I'm only 37.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were 36. Oh,
yeah, 37.
Oh. So let's take a big step back. Let's take a big step back and just kind of like examine our lives. What were you like when you were a teenager?
Yeah,
I'm curious.
I was a jerk.
Oh, I see.
Now we're talking to like preteen, like early teen.
Man, as far back as you would consider yourself as being a teen,
a teen. Man, I was full of, what do they say? Full of piss and vinegar. I really was. I can remember doing some really crazy things as a teenager. I look at the teenage things, the things teenagers do now, compared to the things that I did as a teenager. Mom, plug your ears.
Yeah.
No, I used to sneak out of the house all the time with my cousins, and we would go through the whole neighborhood and like run and knock on doors, and we would like rearrange lawn furniture.
Oh, that's fun stuff though.
You know, we didn't ever like break into anything or like do anything like I don't think we did anything malicious.
Sure.
But we sure did like you could tell where we were at, or even like if I didn't sneak out with my friends, I always had my window open. I could tell where they were at in the neighborhood because of the dogs barking, and the dogs would always bark in certain places.
Did your mom ever know when you snuck out?
You know, I don't know. Mom, did you ever know that I snuck out?
Mike, Mom, did
you know?
Tell him. I know that you knew. Don't lie. Don't live this charade.
I don't, so I can tell you right now, like I would sit in my bedroom and I would listen for my mom and dad to go to bed. Yes, I know all about it. Well, some of it. That's what my mom says. So on the live show, for those of you who are listening, we do have a live show, and my mom posted a comment on the live stream that says, yes, I know about it. Well, some of it.
That's funny.
So I used to wait for my mom and dad to go to bed.
Yeah.
And then I would get up and my window creaked. It made noise.
Yeah.
So I'd get up and I would open up my blinds just a little bit, and I would open it up just ever so slightly, and I'd stop and I'd jump back into bed because I would think that maybe she was coming.
Sure.
Because my mom could hear me fart in the corner of the town and know about it. I mean, moms know those things.
Walk in the house, just get beaten.
Yeah. And so I would there was a process. It probably took 15, 20 minutes to get this window open enough for me to crawl out.
Yeah.
And then I'd crawl out, and then my friends always were there. They always had a stool for me. I would step down on the stool and I'd lower the blinds so that it wasn't there, and I'd keep the window open. Of course, my door was closed.
Yeah.
And then we'd go terrorize the neighborhood and have a lot of fun. So, I mean, that's the beginning of teenage for me. I got kicked off the bus for mooning somebody getting off the bus.
Fair.
And I was so mad about that because I wanted to ride the bus because I lived so close to my elementary school. I walked, and then my middle school was farther away. So I was like, oh yes, I finally get to ride the bus. And yeah, I got kicked off like a week.
You can't show that booty.
You can't.
You can't show any kids listening. Just know that you can't show the booty on the bus.
Yeah. So I mean, that was kind of my teenage year. That was middle school. I didn't get into any fights. There actually, I kind of did get into a fight. There was a kid that was picking on some other people and myself, and I grabbed him by the shirt and jammed him up against the locker and told him to knock it off. I was this tall in middle school, taller than everybody. I wasn't this big, but I was tall, and I put him up against the locker and said, knock it off. And he stopped.
Yeah.
But that was about the dramatic of a fight that I got into.
Sure.
Let's see what I'm trying to go through all the timeline there.
Yeah.
As I got to high school, I snuck out then. In fact, at that time, my mom did know I snuck out because I snuck out and then I came back home and my window was closed.
Like nailed shut.
So I just came through the front door and then she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm coming home.
Yeah.
You closed my window, so I had to come through the front door. We got into quite of a tiffle there.
Yeah.
And then I had some pretty bad years right there. Freshman, sophomore year, I got into a lot of trouble. Just a lot of things, which we'll cover on a different show down the road that we'll talk about those years. But
sure,
as I look at now what teenagers are doing, and I feel like it's a lot different.
Sure.
I mean, so there's kind of my blip of it. What can you remember from your teen years to maybe like the end of high school?
Not a whole lot. Yeah, that was my teen years. No. So where I grew up in Portland, Oregon. And so this is like right before my teen years, right? I had such a bad attitude. And a big part of that was because where I grew up, I had a house full of Crips living next door.
Oh, wow.
And so I would go and I would play basketball 4th, 5th grade with the Crips. And they were super cordial. They were super like nice to my dad. And, like my dad would walk outside and they'd have like a barbecue going on in the front yard. And they'd be like, "Hey, Xavier, come grab a piece of chicken." And he'd go over there. "Hey guys, how you doing?"
Your dad's name is Xavier?
My dad's name is Xavier.
We've never talked about this.
Yeah. One of these days we'll call my dad. And on that day we need to do kind of a disclaimer. I cannot control what my dad says.
Okay. It happens.
But anyways, no. So I grew up kind of like a little hoodlum, right? And we kind of grew up in a rough part of Portland. And so how kind of rough it was. Like one day I wore a shirt that had like red on the shoulder. And the guy next door, Albert, as I came walking up my steps, he goes, "Hey, Tony, come here." And I went over there and he goes, "Hey, you're okay right now? But I'm going to tell you what, if the other guys were out here and they saw you wearing red, we would have a serious problem." Because they initiated me in 4th, 5th grade as an honorary Crip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't wear the red color. You gotta wear
I was like, "Yo, this is a shirt my mom bought me." But I'm tough, so I never wore it again, stuff like that. So my parents got divorced when I was 11. We moved to the other side of the state. And middle school was just kind of this weird time for me because I was just mad. I was just mean to everyone. But I became a bully. So like how you were saying you were a jerk, I feel like we probably would have been best friends because I was an absolute jerk. And I don't know why, but like it was very like my attitude was very appealing to like the girls around me at school and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I was kind of looked at as like the bad boy or one of them, And the thing that really the thing that really made me so mad, and I really hope my cousin Andrew is watching right now. My cousin Andrew Sablon, so we're Pacific Islander, but my cousin used to.
Wait, you're Pacific Islander?
Yeah.
I thought you were something totally different. I'm just kidding.
Don't be fooled by the beard, my friend. No, but my cousin was he still is a big, tough dude. And when I was in high school, he looked like a giant Hispanic guy, right? And all of my friends and everyone at my school was terrified of him. So like I would walk from like middle school, I'd walk out the back door, and my cousin, he was kind of decked out in his normal garb, but he used to build or buy, I don't know, but he used to have those big chrome like lowrider bicycles.
Oh yeah.
And he'd just be like sitting in the back of my school with like a group of his friends, and I go walking by, and as I go walking by, he'd be like, "Hey, Tony, come here." And my friends are like, "Yo, you know him? You know that guy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, that's my cousin." And they're like, "What?" And everyone was terrified of him. Absolutely terrified of him. And no one in my school would fight me.
Yeah.
No one in my school. I cannot tell you how many fights I would antagonize guys and be like, yo, hit me. Because if you hit me and I defend myself, I don't get grounded. Right.
Yeah.
But if I pick a fight, my mom's going to beat me until I wake up, 3-4 days later. Right.
Yeah.
So I had to make sure they hit me first. Right. And did a good one, and then I would just tear them apart. Right. Because I did kickboxing and all this stuff when I was a kid. So, but there was one time this kid named like Andrew McCullough or Andrew McSomething. We were in that line for PE and I got so mad and I pushed him. I was like, let's go. And he jumped up in my face and a buddy of his goes, hey, no, that's Andrew Sablon's younger cousin. Don't.
Oh.
And he goes, hey. And I went, no, let's do this. And he's like, nah, man, I'm good. And I'm like, no. So anyways, I was a bully through school. I felt like I was untouchable because of my big cousin, and I was like, middle school, high school, and he was kind of like a grade or two above me. But yeah, man, like I went to church, but I started drinking when I was 15, right? And so it was just kind of like, I was just like, hey, I'm a good kid, but at the same time, I'm not so good, and I just got mixed up in a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have been mixed up in. And yeah, I don't know. I was a bully. I was a musician. I played music. I played saxophone and drums through middle school, high school. And yeah, man, I don't know. I feel like you and I, if that's how you were, that's very similar to how I was, but I was an adrenaline junkie.
I don't know if I was, I was kind of in the popular side of the school, in school. I was that kid, but I was kind.
Yeah.
I feel like I tried to be kind to people, but then I was always that jerk that like, I'm going to push the buttons from something, especially when my friends were around. I wanted to be the cool kid. I wanted to look cool in front of everybody. So I kind of always, I think back to it and I try to teach my boys, you don't need to be acting like this for sure. And, that's just one. I tried to be better about that. I know that and it's different. Like and teenagers, like teenage wise, I see that these kids, they don't like for you, like you said, like if somebody was to come up to you and like want to pick a fight with you, you're like, let's settle this.
Right.
And the feelings were there. Now kids are like, you looked at me wrong. I'm going to go tell the teacher, my mother, the principal, and probably the governor.
We're going to sue you and you're going to be homeless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different now on how they handle things.
Sure.
And of course, my boys are watching this, so I keep. There's a lot of things I haven't said onto what I've done.
Yeah.
As a teenager and the change of how that works. But like, for example, for me, I was a sports kid. I went out and played basketball all day long, all night long. I got a dirt bike. I rode my dirt bike everywhere. I had a BMX bike. In fact, I can remember one time in Rock Springs, Wyoming, I was riding my BMX bike at a place called the Bowls, big dirt place that had a bunch of jumps and courses and tracks.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And there's a there's a gas station there now. Dang it. I remember spending the night at a friend's house and we came home that day and they had like a bicycle shop right next to his house.
Okay.
And they had a half pipe, or not a half pipe, but like a half ramp and a half jump. You go up the jump and then you'd come land over there, whatever that would be.
It's a box jump or something.
But yeah. And so I went off of that. We went over there and did that, and it had froze that night before. So I had a sheet of ice on the one side of the landing. And I went up and did a tabletop and came down and hit that landing and bam, smacked my head on the pavement really bad.
Yeah.
When I got home, I had blood everywhere.
Sure.
I don't remember that ride home. And for those listening and that do know Rock Springs, and those that don't know, I'm going to paint the picture for you. I would say it was a good 6.5 to 7 miles from where I was at, where I wrecked, to ride clear out north of town of Rock Springs. And I didn't know that. I didn't know what happened. And when I got home, it was like, my mom's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, why? And she's like, you're bleeding. I'm like, oh, whoops. So that, and now I see like kids today, like they're on their electronic devices.
Sure.
They're sitting watching YouTube, watching videos. I played video games. I still play video games, and
Sure.
all I see teenagers and younger kids, like middle school, high school, they're watching people play games. Like they're not playing the games, they're watching people play games.
Right. And
I think, man, I could have made a killing. Yeah, right, Brandon? The bowls, you remember those? Those were so fun.
Yeah.
I would have made a killing because I loved playing video games.
Mhm.
And my wife can attest to this one. You buy me a video game that is lengthy, like an example is Ratchet and Clank for PlayStation. It's a good 2 to 3 day game.
Yeah.
I will play it and I won't stop until it's done.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's different. Like it's that there's such a different. Those of you watching that have teenagers or that remember the teenage years, what can you throw up on the comments? What you guys think is different from when you were a teenager to the teenagers now that you see or that you parent right now? Throw some comments up there. We'll kind of chit chat with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's I think of that, and you have to change with the times. I think,
Sure.
don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, we're in the electronic age, and you kind of have to do that. But I mean, like I was really hesitant to get my boys phones.
Sure.
I still am very hesitant with it. I mean, like, yeah, Brooks doesn't want me to say this, but he's grounded from his phone, has been for a week because he made some mistakes. Yeah. And all he gets to do is call and text on it. And of course, I'm that parent that doesn't let him have social media on his thing.
Sure.
He's 12.
Yeah.
When he's 18 or he gets his own phone, then he can do all that stuff. We've talked about that too, but sorry, not gonna get you any social media. I don't care if your friends do or not.
Right.
There's more important things. Yeah. And I can see I see the effects of the social media with those kids. It's horrible.
It's
bad.
It is.
Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent now.
No, you're good. You're good. I was gonna say, like, for me, I was big into, like, I was a huge fan of the X Games and all that stuff, so I was the kid jumping off of roofs, like onto trampolines, and I was the kid, like, cliff jumping and all of these things, you know what I mean? And it's funny, we had the bowls too, but ours were this, like, gravelly concrete, like they just rip you apart.
Yeah.
But it was skateboarding and everything. But yeah, man, I used to bomb huge hills on my skateboard and, like, slide out and do all these things. And I think the most intense moment I had, man, how old was I? I think I might have been like 18 or 19, maybe.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy John, we were bombing these hills, and this place was called North Hill. And I mean, the hills were pitched. I mean, they were no joke, right? And here's stupid thing number one. Okay. Stupid thing number one. Every block there was a stop sign.
Okay.
From the top of the hill to the bottom of the hill, there was probably 6, 7, 8 stop signs.
Okay.
In the middle of an afternoon on a summer day, on a weekend, like a Saturday, we blew through every single stop sign on our longboards. I mean, we are trucking, and we made it to the bottom of the hill. We survived. We survived. John bailed out and he hit the concrete and ripped his hand open. And, like, I hit, and when you jump off something and you're going so fast, you are literally running at, like, your peak speed, and your feet are kicking you in the back of the head kind of thing. I was there, and I couldn't stop. But later that week, I had come down this huge hill, and it was nighttime, and there was I was behind a Walmart, and I was flying down, and I saw a Walmart semi truck just flying, and this thing was probably doing 45. I mean, it was moving, and it was nighttime, and I looked at my buddy John, and we're flying, and I looked at my buddy John, and he looked at me, and he was like, "Nope," and he bailed because he knew, looking at me, I was going to go underneath that trailer. He knew I was going to do it, and I did. And the scary thing about that is when I went underneath, the snow chains were hanging, and I didn't see them at first. And they brushed the side of my head. There was a loop right here. If that would have caught me around the neck, pulled me off my board, If I didn't grab that chain, I would have got run over by that stinking trailer. And so I went underneath, and that chain just, and it just like rubbed against the side of my head. And I just ducked and was like, oh my gosh, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I was literally centimeters from potentially dying right there, you know? So I did stuff like that all the time. So
I did crazy things like that.
yeah.
I rollerbladed down a hill on Green River, broke
Yeah.
my leg in 6 places.
Ah, man.
Yeah, I was going way too fast.
Yeah.
Had to pull into a cul-de-sac. Thought I would jump the curb, and
Yeah.
it didn't work. Those are the type of crazy things we did as teenagers. Let's see. Rosa on our chat says,
she says, one change I think I notice is teens don't play outside as much where I live. I don't see a lot of teens doing that.
yeah, that's a big thing that you see, I think, in teens nowadays, is that not very many people or not very many kids play outside as much anymore like we used to. And again, I think that has a lot to do with the electronics that we have, the TV that shows. And I think same thing, Rosa. I remember being outside a ton, sleeping on the trampoline at night. And I think kids still do that, but not as much. Riding their bikes, skateboarding, rollerblading, all of those things, hiking in the hills, playing out. I mean, I still see it. I mean, my boys still do it. They still play outside quite a bit. And it's not like one of those things either. Like when I tell my boys, hey, go outside, they don't like look at me and go, really?
Sure.
My mom was exact opposite though. Like I'd be playing outside and just having a great time. She'd be like, you need to come in here and you need to be inside. You've been outside all day long. And I'm like, okay. So I would come in, and then she'd be like, why are you in here? Why you have been in here all day long? You've been playing Nintendo and watching TV. You need to go outside and play. Like, go do like, Mom, would you make up your mind, please?
Yeah.
Like, I was outside, and then you want me to come in.
Did you have the street light rule?
Yes and no. Like my friends were very close, within like a block to 2 block radius of where I lived, and we had phones that were on the wall. For those of you that might not know about that, there was a phone on the wall with a cord.
Oh,
you remember those?
I do remember those.
And then they finally invented one without a cord, and you could take it to a different room instead of sitting there next to the counter spilling your guts in front of your mom and dad and your brother and sister. Like, yeah. But no, I mean, my mom just would say, hey, be back by this time. Back by this time. And then it was like, okay, yeah, it's getting late. And I would push the limits. And
I had a buffer of the amount of time it took my mom to open the front door and yell my name. When those street lights came on, if my mom did not see me heading towards the house,
it was over?
It was over.
See, but I was afraid of the dark too. I still am.
Oh.
And we had steps that you had to go up to on the porch. And I always thought that I watched a lot of scary movies too.
You thought somebody was going to grab you?
Not someone, like a monster.
Would you jump up the steps?
Yeah. Like I would try to skip every step and get to the top.
Like I'm going to just clear these 24 steps in one go. Jesus,
Boom,
be
I'm
with
done.
me.
Michael Hanks, thanks for joining. Kip Jones, thanks for joining. Good to see you guys on here. Christian, good to see you on here.
What up, brother?
Brandon says a lot of parents aren't letting their kids play outside either. And I guess it would depend on where you're at. Like, here's an example. Like, I'll ask you, would you let your 2 oldest ride their bikes down to Walmart and to McDonald's?
No.
And to the
heck no.
No?
No, I'm from Portland. I don't care how small our town is and how safe people think this is.
Yeah.
I still lock my doors here. And I get people that are like, you lock your doors where you live? Heck yes, I do.
Yeah.
You know why my car's never been stolen? Because I lock my dang doors.
See, and I come from a different thing where I lived out north of Rock Springs, and there really wasn't there's crime, and I was probably oblivious to it when I was younger. And there still is here, but like my boys say, hey, I'm going to Walmart on my bikes. I'm like, okay, see ya. And then, 2 hours later, I look at them on the GPS. Oh, there they are. Okay, I see them. But I don't worry as much. I leave that to Carrie.
Sure.
she worries enough for the both of us, which
Yeah.
is good. That's not a bad thing though. But yeah, I mean, I think that's probably one of those things maybe why parents don't let their kids play outside. I mean, but there's been a lot of change, there's child predators out there, there's abductors, there's
human trafficking, all that stuff. All that stuff's
pretty
a reality.
scary. So I mean, I do listen to Tony, she says right there.
Wisdom, knowledge bombs. Yeah, man. I just, I've known people who have gone missing, and I that's a terrible thing for any parent, for any friend or family of, somebody that's happened to. That is a terrible feeling. You know what I mean? And me growing up where I grew up, I saw a lot of stuff that as a kid you probably shouldn't see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was exposed to a lot of stuff very early on, and so I gained a lot of street smarts. But at the same time, like, I'll let my oldest will like be with one of his buddies, and we'll go down 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks, from where we live to go to his house, but he has to call when he gets there. Let us, let him know, he made it and all these different things. But yeah, it's But see, when I was a kid in Portland, I went everywhere by myself.
But again, there's a difference. I mean, it's a lot different.
It is.
You have to adapt with those things. You can't just be naive about it. You can't feel. Again, you have a lot of these parents that are very much older, and old school, and want you to go play outside. Like I didn't get a cell phone until I was 30. Okay, I get that. It's a different time now.
Yeah.
Some people didn't have electronics like that. I mean, I remember I didn't have a Nintendo or anything like a gaming console until I was 14, 15. And we always went over to a kid named Eric Schultz's house. This kid was rich. He had everything. We played dress up in all these cool clothes. And we'd be like, I would be like the Lord of the Manor, and everybody else would be like these army guys. And we would just like costumes and stuff like that. Sure. And he had an indoor swimming pool, and he had Sega Genesis, Sega Dreamcast, Sega CD. He had Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. I mean, he had it all. And we always wanted to go to his house. And, of course, he lived maybe 10, 15 blocks away.
Yeah.
So then mom had to drive you over there, or you could ride your bike. It took you half a day to get there, but you would do it. But I mean, times have changed a lot, and you have to, for good and there's some bad things too.
Sure. And it's really funny. It's really funny that we we're talking about times changing, because, the theme of this, looking at us growing older, right? Look, we're examining teenage years, how things are translating. Tony, you need a white mic. I can't ever see your mouth move. I'm Yosemite Samming it. Hold on, I need to hide my beard. Oh man, I can't do it now. Anyways, but I feel like as I get older, I accrue more pet peeves. I feel like more things in life bug me the longer I'm here.
Now think about that. Are those the same things that your mom and dad were pet peeved about, that now you start seeing those things? Like, is that?
As much as I want to say no, I'm going to lie and say no. Right? No, I've noticed that there are times I have my moments where I cannot tolerate anything. You know what I mean? Like, and my kids will be like, "Dad, you're so grumpy right now." And I'm like, "Dude, I just worked all day, and I came home, and there's a whirlwind of sound, and I just need to just not hear a whirlwind of sound. I need to hear like sleeping kids."
Yeah.
Like, why can't you be asleep when I get home at 5 o'clock? Like, just taking a nap. Like, you know what I mean? And so, anyways, yeah, I feel like for me, not only do I have pet peeves, but I'm more prone to comment on the things that annoy me. I feel like I'm like preparing myself for a nursing home. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm going to just be like that guy that's just like, I don't like this chair over here. Yeah. I just want to move this chair. Can someone move this chair for me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like that's going to be just me. you know, and then I'll be doing pull-ups in the corner.
Some things that I can remember as growing up that I always bugged me with my mom was my mom. So I have two younger brothers.
Mhm.
My mom would always dress us up in the same dang clothes. They matched. The shirt matched, the shorts matched, everything matched.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took that quality from my mom, and my boys sometimes have matching outfits.
See, that used to drive me insane. Like Easter Sunday,
Mhm.
my mom would be like, "Here, boys, here's your clothes." And my brother and I would like look at each other
Mhm.
and be like, "Yo, we're not twins, but I'm gonna tell you what, today everyone's gonna make fun of us because we're gonna look the same." You know, and we would have like a salmon. It wasn't pink, it was salmon, right? We'd have a salmon shirt on with some slacks and some like, you know, like the wax-footed dress shoes, you know, like
Mhm.
that you have no grip on a church floor, so you're just skating around the sanctuary, being so disrespectful, you know, doing a triple Lutz or whatever they call it, you know. And so, but no, is that same thing. My wife will do that. Like she'll color coordinate on special occasions.
Mhm.
And I'm very careful because I don't want to take that away from her. You know what I mean? I don't want to say something
Mhm.
and ruin that for her because I know she really enjoys it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, but my wife has more of a fashionable eye than I do,
Right.
which your wife is probably the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does.
Like I'll put something on and my wife's like, you are going outside, right? Okay. Yeah.
Do you really do that, Kayla?
I mean, sometimes to that degree. But I'll ask her like, "Hey, does this make me look okay? Is this?" And she's like, "Yeah, you should wear the gray one." I'm like, "Oh, that means this one is terrible."
She loved matching outfits. So my mom puts on the live chat. She says, "I love matching outfits. You were all such great sports." No, we were not. We cussed you the whole time. And then we now make our kids dress up.
Yeah.
Similar. What are some other things that I think of that in my teenage years that now I see as I get older? I can remember, and this is just good. I think a good thing, but like my mom, if I chewed with my mouth open,
Oh.
I got backhanded
Oh.
hard. And like if I chomped my gum too hard, I remember several times my mom reaching into my mouth and clawing that gum out. Like,
Yeah.
Mom, it was right there, but no, she stuck all 3-4 fingers in there like an eagle's talon and just ripped it out. And
Rip
it was
the
like,
back of your head out your mouth.
chomp again, son. And I'm like, oh no. And it was I now find myself looking at my boys in disgust.
Yeah.
Like, chew with your mouth closed. That's ignorant, dude.
Yeah.
Don't chomp your gum. Or I
Yeah.
I find myself doing a lot of things like, pick your stuff up, clean your room. I didn't understand any of that stuff when I was younger. My mom would always clean your room, clean your room, clean your room. Well, then as I got older, I wanted people to come over and I'm like frantically cleaning my house.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, why did you clean your house? Like, it's spotless. Like, that doesn't seem, well, my mom told me to clean my room. So,
Yeah.
and then you'd open my bedroom door and there was like mounds
Sure.
of laundry. Everything.
Everything.
Just don't go into my room, please.
Sure. So my dad did something weird when I was a kid. Every time company would just show up at our house, he would run and go take a shower. Like without fail. But he'd be like, I feel like it was his escape from having to like visit with company. Because my dad would just like take off. He'd be like, "Oh, they're here," and he'd just like go in the bathroom and take a shower. And it's like, you already bathed today, like, and it's like 11. What are you doing? Well, like we had a friend of ours who dropped her daughter off the other day, and like it was like 9 or 10 in the morning, but like I was not put together. I wasn't.
Yeah.
My beard was not very kempt. And I heard the knock. And I don't know what came over me, but I just ran into the bathroom and jumped in the shower. And I'm standing there in the shower like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Like, why was that my natural response? You know? Yeah, but I'm right there with you with the, chewing with your mouth open. I was the same. My mom would flick us, we'd catch a hand, and be like, what parent was that? That was so quick, But the one thing, I love you, Mom, if you're listening to this. The one thing I used to get whooped
Mhm.
before I did something bad,
Yeah.
as a reminder to not do something bad. So we would walk, like
Man.
I would get out of this, like my mom would be like, hey, we got to go to the grocery store. There's my mom. Tony hid everything under the bed. I did. So my mom, every once in a while, like when I was a kid, she would go, we'd get out of the car at the grocery store, and she'd come over and like do something, and she'd be like, don't do anything stupid in there. she'd be like, you need to pay attention in there. And what I found myself doing is I took my kids to Walmart like weeks ago, and as me and the boys get out of the car, I'm like, hey, I want best behavior before we go into the store.
Mhm.
And I turned around and I was like, what am I doing? Like, they've been perfect all day. Like, why am I scolding them before we go to the store?
Right.
But yeah,
I do the same thing.
yeah,
We get into the truck, we drive down to Walmart, and we get out, and then we get to the end of the thing, end of the truck, and I look at both of them. Hey, eyes on me. F up, and I will destroy you. I see this tailgate that comes down. You can go in there, and there's a cover on it. No one will see you.
Yeah.
You'll be locked in there. I can lock it. Mess up in here, buddy. And they just look at me like, okay, yeah, I got it. And then we get in there, and they're like, and they start whining, and I'm like, I get the keys out, and they're like, oh yeah, he's gonna lock us in the tailgate. Don't do that.
yeah,
Don't do it.
yeah,
So I don't know if my mom ever did. I mean, she always did say, you be on your best behavior.
yeah.
I can remember, as your mom puts that up there, Tony hid
Yeah.
everything underneath the bed.
I did.
I remember my mom cooked meatballs, and I hid. I didn't like them. They
Yeah.
were horrible, and so we had those for dinner, and then I didn't eat them. So my mom said, "Well, you're gonna have to have them for breakfast." And I thought, my mom's not gonna make me have them for breakfast, and so I woke up the next morning and started getting some stuff ready. And as I got out to the kitchen table, there's the plate of meatballs, all cooked and ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm like, "What is this?" And she's like, "Well, I told you you're gonna have them for breakfast, and then you're gonna eat them until they're gone." And I'm like,
Yeah.
I just like sank, like, really? She was serious about this? And maybe she knows, maybe she doesn't. I took those meatballs as she went into her bathroom to get ready for the day. I took those meatballs, handful of them, ran them to a back bedroom that we had because we lived in a double wide trailer.
Yeah.
Moved in the back, and we had like a mat or something. I put them underneath the mat, and I ran back into the thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Mom, I'm good. Can I have something else? I'm still not full." And she comes out and seeing, "Well, did you throw them in she goes and looks in the garbage can, and then she looks in the sink. Like, there was no trace of them anywhere
Yeah.
in that area."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, yeah, I guess so." So I got a bowl of cereal and ate, and she went back and did her thing. And as I finished, of course, I went back to my room, and I just kept looking, because it's a trailer is basically
Yeah.
a long hallway. And so I can see her from the bedroom I'm at to her bedroom, and just making sure she wasn't coming. And the bedroom that I hid him in also linked to the bathroom down there. So I went into the bathroom, and I got the meatballs, and I put them in the toilet and flushed them.
That's hilarious.
Done.
That's hilarious.
I have just talked about all my sins.
Yeah, there you go. I remember there was a time like I was like freshman in like 8th grade, 9th grade, something like that. And for some reason I was like, I came downstairs, it was 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. My mom was like, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm hungry. And she was like, well, grab a little snack, go back to bed. And I was like, okay. And I opened this can. I don't even know where, I don't even think they even make these cans anymore, but it was this giant can of corned beef hash. Like this huge thing. And I just opened the can, and I put the whole poured it on a plate, put the whole thing in the microwave. And I warmed it up for like 10 minutes, right? I mean, because it's like 2-pound can of like corned beef hash. And my mom goes, what the heck are you doing? For yelling from her room. And I'm like, I'm warming up some food. And she comes out, and I have this mound of corned beef hash. And she goes, you're not going to bed till it's gone.
And it's a big plate of dog food.
Yeah, pretty much. But I liked it. And so my mom was like, you're not going to bed till it's gone. And I'm like, whatever. And I take like 3 bites and realize I'm not really hungry after all. And I go to like dump it in the sink, and my mom's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm done. And she's like, no, you're not. So I'm just like, Mom, I'm so tired, And I just basically got to a point where I wore her down. And it was like 2 hours later. She was like, go to bed. I have to work in the morning, And I was like,
germs, if you're watching, dude,
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
wear them down.
Wearing me down. Try it, boy. No. So as we look at, us getting older, what are some things that you did as a kid that older Michael would have beat the snot out of younger Michael over?
Everything.
Living.
Yeah. No, really. Like
Yeah.
everything. I mouthed off to my mom. I mouthed off to my dad. I mean, I feel like I was a normal child that got upset, got angry with some things. My my boys, I get very angry when my boys raise their voice at me and yell at me.
Yeah.
And I know I did that to my mom a ton. And
Sure.
so it's like, Mom, I should have not. I would have knocked the piss out of me then.
Oh yeah.
When I pulled those shenanigans. But my mom did. She put me in my place. I'm still deathly afraid of my mom.
Yeah.
I don't want to mess with her.
Yeah. Yeah. I practiced cussing on my mom. Like I felt like as a child, like as a teen, I refined it, and I'm sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
I love you.
Mom, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, no, I was the same way. I would disrespect my mom, I mean, we fought all the time and all this. I mean, a huge percentage was me, right? Because I didn't like being told no, unique. But no, like I spoke very rude to my mom, and it's like looking at my kids, the moment that they raise their voice, like once those decibels hit, like, we're up 2-3 decibels from just a normal talk. I'm like, nope, not even once. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
So
I told my boy, so of course Brooks is with his mom, and she mentioned to me the other day that he was raising his voice and stuff. And so I called him. I said, that is unacceptable. We don't do that. You don't do that to anybody, let alone your mother. If I find out you're doing that again, you're coming over, I'm taking the belt out. I've only spanked my kids a handful of times. Sure. I got beat every day.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to do that. I have my own methods, and it's not soap poisoning, Mom. It's not that. It's the wooden spoon syndrome. I cannot walk correctly anymore.
Yeah. A little gangster limp that he has.
And the holes that you put in the spoon. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't have to. I just have to say that, and he's been great all week.
Yeah,
it's been good for a week.
Yeah,
it's really good. So when you think about that, when the topic of our discussion tonight is, are we getting old? And a little bit like some ailments and things like that as well. Do you feel like as you get older, you get more crabby, you get less your fuse is a lot shorter, or is it that, or what is it? What I mean, because I feel like I have my moments, like you said, like you come home from work and you just want everybody to just shut their mouth and go to sleep. I need 5 minutes.
Yeah,
just be quiet, and they're asking you a million questions, and your fuse is this short.
Yeah.
I sometimes feel really bad because I am that way, but at the same time, it's like, I need some time here.
Yeah. There are some days where I would my response to that would be, what fuse? Right. I'm just like, the moment I walk in the house, it's like crash, and it's just like, oh my gosh, what is happening? I mean, it happens when you got little kids. I got little kids, so it happens. Other days, and I've tried really hard to be conscious of how, like, how grumpy I get, in different situations and things like that, especially with like my kids. Cause like I'll walk in and I'll look upset just because like the workday just ate me alive. Right. And I will walk in and like my girls will come up and like, Dad, how was your day? My younger son, that's his main thing, Jeremiah, he'll run up to me most days and he'll go, Dad, how was your day? Was it super busy? And I'm like, yeah, buddy, it was super busy. Oh, okay. Did it eat you alive? Yes, it ate me alive. Oh, okay. And then he'll leave me alone. Like, and there are times when I've walked in the house where my wife will look at me and go, kids, your dad needs 20 minutes. So everyone go to their rooms.
Mhm.
You're not in trouble. Just your dad needs some time if you want to live the rest of the day out, you know? And I really appreciate my wife for that, because it's not that I'm just intentionally, just disgruntled all the time. You know what I mean? But there are some days where just like that fuse is just non-existent, and
Right.
I just need, because sometimes when you walk home, I mean, and everyone listening, that you have kids, sometimes when you walk in, you have to reacclimate to that atmosphere. You know what I mean? Like I sit in an office, I'm a programmer, like I'm a software engineer, and I write code all day, and I'm in a relatively quiet space, quiet environment. And I'm just, cranking out algorithms and math and thinking. And then I come home and it's just dad, 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 dad. And I'm like, I'm going to go sit in the car,
I'll be in the car. Yeah.
So
now, to that too, how about this? Do you find, like, I'll give you an example. Like when I was younger, and not necessarily just my teenage years, but even like in my 20s, I could go out with a bunch of friends, party, come back and do it the next day, and then come back and do it the next day, and then go to a concert, a music venue concert, and do that like 3-4 days straight, and just, okay, here we go, and then it's Monday again, and we're going. I feel like today, what's today? Wednesday.
yes,
And I'm getting old because the days just roll now,
they all blend together, man.
It's not
this is Monday number 3.
Yeah. So for me, if we had a concert planned tomorrow at like 8:00, 9:00, we know this concert's going to go till 11, 12 o'clock, and then you have to come back. I'm drained till next week.
Sure.
I don't have it in me anymore. Like I do, but it's like I don't have that 3 or 4 day spell anymore, and I feel like, man, I'm getting old. Or like I noticed on a Facebook comment today on somebody, and I can't remember who it was exactly, but they said, am I getting old when I get home from work and then I just throw my sweats on and lounge around the house the rest of the day? And I'm thinking, man, like people don't do this.
Yeah.
Like I wear a work uniform all day long.
Yeah.
And so when I when I get home, I want the uniform off.
Sure.
I want shorts and a t-shirt on, or it's cold weather now, so I got my cool Do Better. For those of you watching the live stream and those of you listening, we have a good friend who does the Do Better line. Check her out on Instagram, Facebook, Do Better. We did have a podcast with her as well.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
Early on. Yeah.
We're going to have to I think we're going to have to come back and do some of those podcasts.
Why not?
That were early time, because the audio was bad.
Sure.
And I want to redo them.
Sure.
And I just went off on a tangent. But anyway, do you find yourself on those type of things? Like that you used to be able to do this. Now you're getting old.
So yeah, I do. See, I can go do social things every day of the week. Right. I'm a social butterfly. Like I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy being around people and things like that. My wife is my gauge of how much of that we will do like on a regular basis. Cause my wife is the opposite.
Same,
right.
Same.
My wife's more of an introvert than I am. Like usually like after church, she's waiting on me. Cause I'm like, hey guys, hey, shaking everyone's hand. Hey, how you doing? All these things. But yeah, I don't know. I just went on a tangent and forgot the question you just asked me.
I asked you, like, are there things that you notice now as you've gotten older? Because tomorrow you're going to be old.
So short-term memory loss is number one.
Yeah.
No. So one of my kids made a comment the other day. I stood up on the couch. I stood up from the couch and I made this sound because my back was hurting. And I got up, like I didn't just stand up. Right. Like, when the normal person stands, right, you have one motion and you're just from a sit to a stand. I went from a sit to a lean over to a lean further over to a kind of come up a little bit. Then I extend my back straight up and then I stand. But I apparently was moaning while I did it. And he was like, man, you make more sounds than the stairs do. One, you're grounded. Number two, man, I'm old, because I got a bad back. And a big part of that is because, genetics, I got degenerative disc disease and stuff, but I did not do any favors for myself in my earlier years, jumping off of houses and down into big bowls and all of these different things. I compressed my spine a ton, and so anyways, I'm paying for it now, I mean, gosh, what was it? I was in Seattle, so it was 7 years ago. They were like, hey, you're really young, but your back is really bad. Have you ever considered fusing your spine? And I'm like, dude, I'm in my like mid-20s. Like, what? And so anyways, I feel that. Like, I slept with a heating pad. This is no joke. I slept with a heating pad the other night, and I woke up bragging to my wife how great that heating pad was. And I was like, man, we need to get nothing but heating pads, like heating pads for everyone. You get a heating pad. And it was just like, I'll buy you one. But I was like, oh man, my neck feels good. And on the drive to work, I was literally celebrating about being able to sleep in a position that didn't hurt my body,
And you celebrate buying house appliances and flooring and mats for the car.
Yeah.
Where you used to celebrate buying like the Pokemon backpack and the concert tickets to Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Ooh, Keikoa, shout out.
You like Bone Thugs?
No, he looks like Bone Thugs.
Oh,
when his hair is brushed
out. I got it.
Yeah.
I just noticed, like, for me, when I was younger, I used to want to go out and have fun, and I'm still a social butterfly. I'm the same way. Carrie judges how long we are out and stay, but when she lets us know what's going on with that. But I find myself wanting to spend more time with my kids. I want to spend more time at the house. I don't really want to go out and do as many things as I used to when I was younger. So that's when I feel like, man, I really am getting old.
Yeah.
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 Unfortunately, that's, and I don't think it's a bad thing. As you get older to do those things, because we still go and do a ton of things.
Sure.
We travel, we go on vacations, things like that.
I think for me, I got like aches and pains and stuff and everything. I think the number one thing is like, I can't remember anything ever. I'm super forgetful, more so now than ever before, but like, I feel like there are times my wife uses it to her advantage, because she'll be like, remember when you said this thing? I'm like, no, I literally don't. She's like, no, you said that, we could do this thing. We could go to this place, or we could go, you were going to do this thing. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, I have zero memory. She goes, you have a horrible memory. And I'm like, okay, listen, I need to start writing everything down.
Yeah.
Right. Because, and I swear, like, and she'll deny it, but I swear there's moments where she does that just to get me to do a thing. Because I have no defense. If she says, well, I told you about this and you must have forgotten, I can't say, no, that's not true. Because I literally have no memory of this thing happening. And I have no defense. So I'm just like, I guess I'm doing this thing.
I get that.
Yeah.
I understand that, because I get told the same thing. Like, I told you, you just weren't listening.
Exactly.
No, I was listening.
Yeah.
I don't remember you saying that. I don't think you said that out loud. I think you said it, but you didn't say it out loud. And she's going to deny it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm the dumb one, and I don't listen.
Yeah.
I'd like to sleep in the bed.
I like to sleep in the bed. My wife said something to me the other day. I don't remember what it was, but she was like, she said something to me in response to my listening but not listening. She was like, how do you do that? And I was like, what? She was like, how do you just take in everything somebody says and don't retain anything? And I was like, what were you just asking me? She's like, that's what I'm talking about. And because I was on my computer and and her conversation to me had like answerable moments. Like, I was nodding. I was like, yes, yeah, of course. I love to. Oh, it's my favorite. And she was like, is it really? And I'm like, what was the conversation? Like, I was on my computer, so I knew the signs. Anyways, I'm getting old. 36 tomorrow. What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Are you sure you're 36?
So, not even to be funny, last year, forgot how old I was. Absolutely forgot. If you've ever forgotten how old you were on your birthday, put it in the comments, and after we're done making fun of me, we can make fun of you. Yeah, no, last year somebody was like, "Hey, how old are you going to be?" And I said 34 or 36, and my wife was like, "You're turning 35." And I had to do the math real quick, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what? How do I forget my own age?" You know, and I think it was like 2 birthdays. I swear, if I didn't have a wife and kids, I wouldn't even know it was my birthday. You know, except for like at work, they celebrate everyone's birthday, and we've got a great EA. You know, shout out Celeste. And they'll organize like a happy birthday song and all these things. But I'll have times like if no one says anything, I've blown through birthdays before. When I was single, like my mom would send me a text, you know, in the afternoon, "Hey, you know, happy birthday to my absolute favorite son." You know, that's what my mom does.
You're the favorite son, huh?
In my own mind. Yeah. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's my birthday today." You know, and coworkers were like, "Oh shoot, let's take you out to lunch." I'm like, "Cool, free food," you know?
Yeah.
But I've blown right through birthdays before, you know, but my wife and kids, they love birthdays. They love celebrating. And, you know, I love when people, you know, sing to me. Is it fully transparent that I'm lying? I'm just kidding.
You want sung too?
No.
Tomorrow?
No, it's okay. But
what's your extension?
I'm not telling you. My extension is 911 and just start singing.
I'm gonna find out. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Carrie knows what I do on birthdays to people that are close to me. So you'll find out tomorrow.
Gosh,
I'm not gonna tell you. You'll find out.
If my boss is listening, I'm taking a sick day. One of my bosses is listening. I saw him on the thing. He liked our thing.
Yeah.
What up, Jed? If you're still on, if you're not on, we're not friends anymore.
You're not friends if they're not on.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for everybody who's listening and watching on the live stream. We're going to continue to do this every Wednesday at 8 p.m. That is going to be our go-to. We will release the audio episode the following day at 6 a.m. or at least we'll try. Do really hard. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Spotify. We're on Google Podcasts. We are on iTunes, iHeartRadio. We are on Podbean. We are on Hushka. We are on Devers. There's a bunch of them out there. Again, search Google Time Out with Michael and Tony, and you will find us. You can get us. We have a bunch of sponsors. Thank you so much to SeatGiant.com, Arjun on Bear River Drive, the Shell gas station, and Napa Auto Parts, which is also Callis Automotive here in Evanston. Drama City Productions for letting us do all of our fun stuff here. We have a bunch of fun things coming up, so please stay tuned. We're going to have some guest spotlights with some really awesome people. Work Ethic is a podcast we're going to do.
That one should be coming soon.
I'm trying to line one up with Rocco O'Neill. Hopefully I can grab him. That would be awesome to grab him. And just a couple, we're going to do a series too, like a family series.
Yeah.
Which will include Kayla and Carrie in there, probably the kids. It's just going to be a really fun series. So it'll be a spinoff. It'll still be on Time Out with Michael and Tony. But it'll be we're just gonna do a whole series of some family stuff. So it'll be one right after the other to do that. The one with Rocco, although we do everything on Wednesday, it'll be a special one. So it'll be on a Thursday. Okay. He's gonna let us know. So if you guys are interested in any of that, don't forget to tune in and listen. If you didn't tune in onto the live stream, if you guys have any ideas or things that you want us to talk about podcast wise or live stream chat, let us know. Send us a message. Check us out on patreon.com /timeout with Michael and Tony. You can send us some money so we can improve this studio. That's what all that goes to. So if you guys give us any money on patreon.com or even our merch shop at Spreadshirt, all that money that you guys use to buy those products, we use that money to get new microphones, get new headphones, it all goes back into the podcast and back into the studio. So this takes money. It's not like it's free. We have used a lot of our own money to get all of this started, but we thank you for listening. I mean, without you guys, we wouldn't be successful as we are. We're climbing through. I think we're number 3 in Wyoming
Out of the 4.
Out of the 4.
Boom. Yeah.
For podcasts. So again, thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to you, the listeners and the watchers. And we'll see you guys. I can't use Midlife Vibes. I watch him so much. He says you'll see you guys next time. We got to come up with our own tagline.
We
Tony.
will see you at a later date when our paths cross.
That's too much.
Sorry.
Come up with a different one.
Bye.
See ya. Awkward moment.
Is that awkward?